Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Temple of Possibilities. I am Minister William, or Reverend Will, if you wish, leading today's sermon of April 19th, 2026. And as always, we'll start with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, or what have you. All right, thank you. Sorry for no sermon last week, but we're having technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to get a video out in time. But this week's sermon is called Generous of Heart, and it was written by Lane Margaret Campbell. I probably butchered that. And it was put on the Unitarian Universalist Association website on March 1st of 2023, so a couple years ago, a few years ago. O Spirit of Love, enlarge our sympathies toward all troubled folks. Let us be generous of heart that we might forgive and be forgiven. Reverend Richard S. Gilbert. For the longest time, I believed that folks who had harmed me, folks who I held a grudge against, had really intended to ruin my life. It felt plain as day to me. These folks had actively sought to do me harm. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were cold and calculating. They had bad motives. They were on some kind of power trip. It was hard for me to understand that perhaps these folks had been hurt too. Perhaps something had happened in their life that left them trouble, trouble that was actively deserving of sympathy rather than my anger and resentment. I'm in 12-step recovery and so grateful for the process of making amends and offering forgiveness I've learned through this program. In the process of recovery, we take an honest look at the resentments we hold and fears that run our lives, and also the harms that they have caused in relationships. Taking an honest look at all these is freeing. It has provided me with perspective, forgiveness, and freedom from the shame I've experienced. After shifting through these resentments, fears, and harms in step 4 and sharing them with another person in step 5, we humbly ask a higher power of our understanding to remove the defects of character in play in each situation and move into the process of owning harm and making amends. Step 8 and 9. In the process, my heart opened to a new kind of generosity. I learned to see myself as a human being capable of harming others alongside those who I thought were out to get me. I was also able to offer forgiveness to people I truly thought I'd never be able to forgive. When I was thinking about all of the harm they intended to do to me, it was hard to see the ways I too had harmed others. Because my actions had also harmed others, how could I avoid hurting others when I was so hurt myself? Prayer. May our hearts become large enough to recognize our own shortcomings in the ways we had treated others. May our hearts become large enough to extend sympathy to those who have hurt us. May our hearts become large enough to hold the complexity of the human spirit. You know, it is kind of, I don't read these sermons before I read them. Um, and it is funny because uh, my high priestess Yolanda said that we should do a sermon on forgiveness. I'm not much one of forgiveness. I have never forgiven anyone. I have never even forgiven myself. And at the moment, I am currently dealing with people who are out to get me. So I have no intention of forgiving them, but there have been people in my life who said you have to forgive others because it takes the weight off your shoulder. But like I said, I'm not really the forgiving type, so I can't confirm or deny it. But if you are a better person than I and are able to forgive people, you should. And try not to hurt those who don't deserve to be hurt. But remember, when we all come together, possibilities are endless. I'll see you next week.